All right, thanks, Allie. Well, this week, delegates are meeting in Cancun, Mexico to continue discussions on climate change. But why is the UN taking up the issue at all? Some say it already has.
Joining us is Michael Barnes, managing member of DCBA Law and Policy. Good morning to you, Mr. Barnes.
Good morning.
The UN has an awful lot on its plate. How about North Korea? How about Iran? How about the nuclearization of frightening countries? So why right now is this the right time to take up climate change legislation?
I don't think it is, and I agree with you that with Iran and North Korea giving immediate threats to the entire world related to their nuclear programs, why should the UN be focusing on issues related to environmental concerns that might perhaps, if indeed they ever will, cause threats to the world in a generation or 3 or 4?
Well, critics argue, as you well know, Michael, that the UN might be the perfect place for this to take place because the UN is the one body that can come together representing all of these nations and sort of force the hand of some of these nations who don't want to go along with climate change proposals, and certainly countries that don't have the infrastructure in place to handle it on their own. What do you say to that?
Well, it's the forcing of the hand issue that is really problematic, because we have seen that there are great difficulties with the UN in enforcing these sorts of international mandates. And if we look back to Iraq, of course, we know that there were problems long before the Iraq War related to the enforcement of international mandates. We see that with North Korea. We see that with Iran. So it's, again, getting to the enforcement that the UN really has a difficult time with.
Yeah, good luck getting China on board with climate restrictions, UN. But one of the challenges is how to show that you can also make this a job creator. Has there been any progress in showing that you can both improve climate legislation and create new jobs? Or is this going to cost people money?
Right. I think that in terms of creating this international sort of mandate that is based on restrictions as opposed to incentives, we're not heading in the right direction. The best way for us to proceed is for us really to look to the economic benefits to the U.S. of creating cheaper and cleaner energy sources, right? And so then we also have the added benefit of protecting our own environment and the environment of the world at large. So really we should be focusing on the incentives associated with developing cleaner and cheaper fuels.
You know, a lot of people are saying, look, this time we're going to get it done in Cancun. We all remember the disaster that was Copenhagen last year. All these countries come together. They can't manage to curb emissions across these other countries. Everyone's saying, we got to get it done this time. What's your sense? Do you think anything is going to come out of this in Cancun?
No, I don't. And I think that if the Obama administration really wants to make a smart move, it will insist that if any package comes out of Cancun, that it be a balanced package that also includes the interests of the United States and not unilateral disarmament, so to speak, of the U.S. and to the advantage of countries like China and India. So if that package does not come forth, the U.S. would be better off just wiping its hands clean and sending its bureaucrats back to the U.S. and leave early from Cancun.
Enjoy Cancun while it lasts, I guess.
Yeah,
Michael
exactly.
Barnes from DCBA Law and Policy. Thanks for being here.
We'll come back to
Thank you.
Come back to this cold weather.